The last time I came to Berlin to do anything serious was about 25 years ago. I've been on holiday a few times since then, but I came to produce an album by U2. It was an album called Achtung Baby. And it was a big break for them. It was a completely new experiment. And it was them trying to step out of a kind of momentum that their career had acquired that was pushing them in a direction that they no longer wanted to go. They made that record, and on it was a very beautiful song called One, which is one of their most famous songs, I guess. That's really a song about unity in diversity, of the beauty of difference and the beauty of coming together to celebrate and enjoy difference. Prior to that, I was in Berlin 13 years before, working actually in the same studio, Hansa Studio, with David Bowie on his album Heroes. And of course, I'm sure you know the song Heroes. I think of it as the Berlin song now, really. But that was another anthem, really, to a kind of hope, an idea of the possibility, the aching possibility of a beautiful and different future. Again, it was a record that was born out of a very difficult situation for him. He was in a difficult circumstance. He had a very successful career, which was, oh, thank you. I don't think it will help, but... Oh, that's better. Sorry, I don't know what it is. Oh, that is better, thank you. It's water, that's a good idea. He was being pushed forward in a direction that he no longer wanted to go. And in fact, the machine that was pushing him, the machine of his own success, was actually operating completely counter to what he originally intended to be doing, which was to be an artist. He felt he was no longer really being an artist in the grip of that machine. So we made a record that was really not the record either of us expected to make. It was a complete break from anything he'd done before. And now I'm here at this conference, and I think we're doing the same thing, really. This is an attempt to sidestep the momentum of a huge organization that has in many ways been very successful, but which is now producing outcomes that none of us want. It's as though the system was invented to serve us, and now we're serving the system. It doesn't serve us anymore. It's pushing us forward in a direction that none of us like. I mean, almost none of us. I don't find anybody who wholeheartedly supports the direction of Europe at the moment. And of course, a lot of us here criticize it very strongly. So we've come out of a third of a century of an ideology, really, that I think has proven itself to be bankrupt. I date it as starting from the day Margaret Thatcher said on British television, "There's no such thing as society." But of course, thank you. Of course, it starts a lot earlier than that. It starts with thinkers like Hayek and Ayn Rand, Ayn Rand said, altruism is evil, I believe. These ideas, which sound kind of outlandish, singled out on their own, were the fundamental ideas of a philosophy that has governed us for the last 33 years at least. And part of that is, of course, this fairy tale character, this Disneyland person called Invisible Hands. I think you've probably heard of him. He's the guy that Adam Smith invented and is supposed to be much smarter than any of us. The invisible hands is supposed to be able to think about things that we can't actually conceptualize ourselves. So we had a third of a century of what I call metaphysical economics, kind of economics that was almost religious. It was the belief that things would kind of sort themselves out, and they would sort themselves out better if we didn't interfere with them. Well, I think we've seen that that didn't work. It didn't work financially, and it isn't working socially either. It turns out that we actually do benefit from trying to think about the problem of how do we make a better world. And we can think about that. We should think about that together. It doesn't mean, by the way, that any of us have an answer. The whole point about democracy, as somebody said once, democracy is a form of politics for people who aren't sure that they're right. None of us have the answer. If any of us thought we have the answer, we wouldn't be Democrats. The reason you're a Democrat is because you don't have the answer, but you think that between all of us we might come up with one. We might come up with a way forward. So what we're really doing, I think, is saying none of us have the answer. We have strong feelings, but we have to take a bold step forward in the knowledge that we'll probably end up somewhere that we didn't expect to end up. We'll probably end up with some kind of a pancake, which is not exactly what anybody wanted, but which nonetheless has some beautiful things about it, rather like those two albums I described. We have to step forward into a direction that nobody, including ourselves, was expecting. Would you mind switching it off, please? It's a nice tune, but I don't need it really. So, what we're trying to do... Thanks. That's also very helpful, yeah. Would you like to come a little bit closer? Oh, good. Okay. I was reminded of a Jewish joke this morning. It's a telegram that says, "Start worrying, details to follow." And I thought... I was thinking about what we're trying to do here, and it's a little bit like trying to cook a meal that nobody's ever cooked. So I thought our motto could be, start cooking, recipe to follow.